Hello, I'm Chef Jody Brunori. I'm at the Vander Farmhouse and we are doing episode 2 of our YouTube series. And today we're cooking the baseball sirloin. Hey there, my name's Jody. I'm Chef Jody Brunori. I'm here at the Vander Farm and we're cooking a baseball sirloin steak today. Wagyu is a really healthy piece of meat. It has all the omega fats and niacin, iron. It promotes growth of muscle. It's really great for athletes. And besides that, fun, boring stuff, it's a really great piece of meat. Eats well, tastes well. This is a center cut sirloin steak. Usually they come pretty clean. Sometimes they have a little bit of sinew on there that you might want to take off because when we get this in the pan, it'll tend to burn and won't be real palatable. So we're gonna take this little bit of sinew off right here. And then we're gonna do today what's called a reverse sear. A reverse sear is you put it in an oven at a low temperature. Today we're gonna do 250 degrees. We're gonna season it up really well and then we'll bring it to about 110 internal temperature degrees, and then we're gonna finish it in a hot pan, searing it, getting a really great crust. And if all goes well, we'll have a perfect medium rare. So I'm gonna go ahead and season this up for you. Wagyu is super flavorful, so I like to keep it very simple with just salt and pepper. Generally, you wanna try to move it around, get all those sides, be very liberal. Sirloin can tend to be a little bit tough, so if you find that you don't care for the texture of sirloin, you can salt it 30 minutes before you're going to cook it, and that'll help break down some of the tissue. And then it should be a lot more tender. So on the animal, this piece of meat is located between the top sirloin, the bottom sirloin, and the tenderloin. It eats like a tenderloin, not quite as buttery, but still really lean, really flavorful, and wonderfully delicious. So we're gonna put it on a baking dish with a rack, and we're gonna pop this in the oven, like I said, at 250, and we're gonna cook that for about 25-30 minutes, and then when it comes out, we're gonna sear that. So the reverse sear process is really great for thicker cut and a little bit tougher cut of meats. If you have a steak that's, an inch or thicker, this will allow, the reverse sear allows you to bring it up to a temperature that once you put it into your hot pan, it's gonna caramelize the outside of it and it's gonna continue to cook evenly, and you will be able to succeed that medium rare or that temperature that you're looking for your steak. One of the biggest things too is once you do that sear, the reverse sear, then you sear it in your pan, your hot pan, and then you let it rest. I like to let it rest for about 10 minutes, and that makes all the juices distribute throughout the meat, and it just lets everything kind of chill out, all the muscles, everything inside the meat, and then it's perfect to eat. Mario and Marline are two of the coolest people I think I've ever met. I have the opportunity right now to live on their property, and 14 of their cows are in my front yard every single day. So I can contest that those cows are treated very humanely. They're super healthy, they're beautiful. And the dream of them to come to America and make this happen is just a really cool story. And I met them about 4 years ago. I happened to be at a dinner locally, and they were there, and they introduced me to their meat, and by far one of the best pieces of Wagyu I've ever eaten. Did not even know that you could breed a Wagyu with a Holstein cow, so that's pretty cool too, and that's their process. Their cuts are phenomenal, the butchering of it, the breeding, the all around, the whole sustainability of the cow is really remarkable. And me as a chef, I stand behind those kind of practices. So it was really important for me to learn their story and to support them in what they do. Well, I grew up in the restaurant industry. I started when I was 13. I was a dishwasher and just helping a friend of the family's out. Always had a great love for cooking and food, of course, eating food. Big family, and we were always at the kitchen table, whatever occasion it was, whether it was, Sunday dinner or some special occasion we were celebrating, we were always at the table. I can't remember how old I was when I first finally sat on my mom's couch. And when we go home to visit her, we don't get to sit on the couch anymore either. So yeah, I started culinary school late in my life. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time and decided to go back to school because I have this need to learn. And one of the things that I did as a home maker was prepare food and entertain and things like that. So I thought I'd extend on that desire and went to culinary school, and then next thing I knew I was a chef, and been a chef for about 22 years now, and can't complain other than the long hours and the heat, but other than that, it's very rewarding. I love to cook, I love to use great products. To be able to put that on a plate and share it with other people is really rewarding. My most memorable thing as being a chef is mentoring people, young people who don't really know that this is a dream and something that they want to do, and being able to share the craft with them, the respect of the product, and just showing them what they're capable of, developing their palates, showing them the ingredients that make things pop and stand out and taste different. I love to teach people, so I think that's one of my most rewarding moments as being a chef. I don't think I have a specific thing that stands out other than the fact that my son followed in my footsteps, and he's an awesome chef too, so that's kind of fun. Favorite thing to cook as a chef? I love meat. I love braised meats. I love this time of year. I love being able to put, some lesser cut of meat and put it in the oven and braise it in some wonderful liquid and let it come out so tender and flavorful, and all the great, fall vegetables that are available right now, and pair those together. I think that's probably one of my favorite things to cook. My favorite Vander Farm cut, this baseball sirloin, is really cool, and it's called a baseball sirloin because it looks like a baseball, the way it's cut from the center of the sirloin. That's really fun to cook, but my favorite by far is probably the oxtail. I love how to manipulate the oxtail, and nobody thinks about the oxtail, and it's kind of a not so well used product. And that kind of gets my motor running, if you will. It gets those creative juices flowing. I've made some cool things with oxtail, and it's really underrated. My advice for younger people that, or even, I became a chef late in my life. I was 40 years old, and my advice would be to, just learn, just be a sponge and soak up everything that you can. Follow that one person around that you admire and you like their technique and you like the way they handle the product and things like that, their palate, their flavor profiles. Follow that person around and be that sponge. That's kind of what I did in the industrial kitchen. I knew I had a goal to meet, and so I was anxious and excited to learn everything that I possibly could. And I apologized a lot for mistakes that I made, and the chef that was my mentor, he kept telling me not to apologize, to learn from those mistakes. So learn from your mistakes and continue to grow. And one of the biggest advices I can have is you never know all of it. You're continue to learn and read, follow up on the trends, get to know, what's in the area, what kind of restaurants, how you can be better, how you can use different products and just stand out. One of the biggest things that I'm really a proponent of is the craveability. That's what makes the customer come back to your restaurant. It's something that they're not going to go home and cook and be able to recreate. So always work on your craveability, your consistency, and you know, just don't ever give up. Just keep pushing yourself. Well, I'm new to the area, and I come from the Detroit area that's hustle and bustle and traffic, and you know, all the popular restaurants are all competing and all that stuff. So you could, you know, basically go to 4 restaurants within a 3-minute walking distance and get something different to eat. And one of the things that attracted me to this side of the state is the fact that it's kind of a way slow down, and you have to kind of push yourself to be better than the next. And you have to, you know, use the products that come from the land. A lot of farming, which really interests me a lot, because if I wasn't a chef, I think I would definitely be a farmer. And meeting Mario and Marline, that's kind of an avenue that's allowed me to go down, because now we're living on their farm and we get to feed the animals and see them grow, and you know, the mating and what has to be done with them. And that's something that's always interested me, and not just the animals but also the vegetables, and to watch, you know, drive down the road and to watch them grow and the crops change and what's available and all that stuff. It's been a really great experience. There's sustainability really ends up on your plate. It might sound weird, but it really does. How the animal or even the vegetable is processed and raised and grown, it ends up being that perfect complement to your plate. Sustainability is important for the environment, of course, and it's important for our health as well. And as far as like the general public, in bigger towns, that's really taken for granted. And I like to go to the market, and maybe last week I had these great heirloom tomatoes. Well, now we don't have those because they're out of season. So it forces you to figure something else out for your plate that's going to still give you the same result pertaining to the season that's prevalent. No, it's true. It's really taken for granted, where our food comes from, how it gets to the store. You know, it's really easy to pop into a Meijer or a grocery store and just grab what you need for dinner that night. But when you really have to think about it, source it, and figure out what the best is, it takes more time, and it means more when you eat it, I think. Presentation, I've done a lot of fine dining, so presentation is important. You know, people see with their eyes, and then they smell, and then they taste. So presentation has always been kind of driven into me, being a fine dining chef. But you can also plate those comfort foods and layer them so that they're eatable, and you still get, you know, I'm kind of a curated chef, so when I curate a plate, I want everything to be eaten together. I don't want you to eat your potatoes first, your peas next, and then your meat, or vice versa. I want you to take a bite of all that and enjoy it together. And that's how I compose a menu. That's how I compose a dish. But definitely presentation is fun. That's the fun part about it. And you know, playing around with one of my pet peeves right now is the tweezer thing. But a lot of chefs are great at it. I just don't have the patience for it. You know, you can still make a really pretty plate without all the pretentiousness of it all. We got 6 minutes, and then we'll pull this guy out. Oh, it's looking fabulous. So this is the sirloin steak out of the oven from the reverse sear. As you can see, it's kind of dried it out a little bit, which will allow us to get that really nice brown crust on top. One of the important things about the baseball sirloin is you have to make sure you cut it against the grain. You can see the grain runs this way, and you'll be able to tell that, and so we're gonna wanna cut it this way. And then also, sometimes, you know, sirloin is known for being a little bit tougher, and if you bring your meat down to room temperature before you do your reverse sear, and maybe about 30 minutes on the counter, and then salt it for another 30 minutes, that'll really help with the tenderness of the meat. Even though it might have a little bit of a chew, it's still super tasty, super flavorful, and it's a great cut. I I enjoy it. So I'm gonna take it over to my pan over here. Pan's nice and hot. You got that great sizzle. This should not take very long. We'll probably only have it in the pan once we get all sides browned. We cooked it at the reverse sear to about 110 degrees. If you like it rare, you're gonna want it around 120, 25, and then 130 to 135 for medium rare. And that's degrees. So once again, we want this to rest. People call the juice that comes out, they think it's blood. It's actually called myoglobin. It isn't the blood of the animal. It's just a process of the cooking. It's not bad for you. It's actually very delicious, and it's something that you should not be afraid of. And I understand people are a little bit squeamish, but it is just part of the meat. So we've had about 5 minutes of this resting. We're gonna give her a little cut. And once again, the grain goes this way, so we wanna cut this way. And we're looking for a beautiful medium rare. And voila, there it is. Nice and juicy. Beautiful, beautiful steak. One of a really great compliment to a steak after it's been cooked is a really good sea salt, a little bit of a coarser grind. It's not really adding salt to the steak, it's just bringing out the flavor. I recommend that highly. Maldon, M-A-L-D-O-N salt is probably one of the most popular. And cooking's fun, guys. Don't be afraid of it. Thanks for watching today. Feel free to like and comment and keep on watching us. And we look forward to the next episode. Thank you. Get in there.